All right, let's talk about what to look for in locations when you're showing up to someplace new and you're trying to figure out where do I shoot, how do I shoot. So I just arrived to my session location, a place I've never been to before. I did a little search on Google to find a place for this location. I have clients that are coming in from out of town. It's actually a dual family session tonight that I'm shooting. And so I had to find a place that was going to be in and around where they were. No place I've ever been before. It's beautiful, but that sun is real high. And so understanding sun and light and how it is going to factor into your session location is super duper important. So one of the ways that you can do that is by using an app. I like an app called Sun Surveyor. I can obviously look at it while I'm here, but I can look at it before I go and see where the light's going to track to be able to determine the best possible time to shoot. So our session was slated to start at 6. They asked if we could move it back to 6:30. The sun is going to be just coming below that mountain at 6:30. So what's nice about that is that there will be a bunch of open shade. We won't have a ton of backlight to work with, but that's okay. We've got little ones today, and honestly, sometimes open shade is just better and easier because they run around a lot. And they're like 3 and 4 and 2 and an infant, so having open shade and being able to sort of shoot from any direction, any perspective, not a bad thing. Right. So let me show you the Sun Surveyor app. So that little line that's moving is showing me wherever the sun is and where it's going to be at 6:30, which is just below the mountain there. So again, that means that that shade line that you see over there is going to move this way. So this is just a little, and again, what I was saying before is that that shade line, as that sun comes down, that shade line is going to move this way, which is going to create more open shade for us to work with. Now it's great that the grass is short because again, we're working with little kids, and tall grass, sometimes they don't like it. It's scratchy, it's pokey. Obviously we need to always pay attention for ticks and bugs and things of that nature, but it does sort of not give us a ton to work with, which is why I like this area over here. So we have a lot going on here. We've got all different colors, flowers. We've got yellow, we've got white, we've got some purples over there, sort of like tall grasses. Things that we can sort of shoot through or shoot, in front to sort of give perspective. We also have a very quintessential New England barn here because this is what we have. And so we could use some direct harsh light here, put them here, have them talking and looking at each other, and really be able to pull out the color in the background there. We might, again, as the sun comes down, get more open shade here, which could be nice. If we still have some light happening, we could shoot this way, get some backlight on them. And again, we have all these different layers of things happening here that I like to try to incorporate into my photos. And if we wanted to venture into the open shade and really get the backdrop of the mountain, we could do that too. And then we have a fence up there. I'm going to show you how to use a fence. So I love a fence line for a bunch of reasons. A, I'm always looking for leading lines. How can I draw my eye to my subject? And here from this perspective, I'm in a little bit of open shade here. I've got some backlight. You can still see the background happening there. But I can put them against the fence, leaning on it. I can have them sit the kids on there if I want to. I'm going to show you another perspective that I can shoot from because this fence sort of goes around the parking lot. But I love the leaves hanging down here too. It sort of blocks the gate a little bit there, lets the light peek in every now and then. So it's it's rustic. So it's got that sort of rustic feel to it, which adds textures and sort of, some depth and some tangibility to it. And as you can see from the light on my face, if I have my subjects here, they are in open shade still with the light very even on their face. There's not a lot of like dappling that's going on. And so it's a great way to be able to shoot in a place that maybe there's a little bit more open sun than you would like, by finding ways to filter the light. So if I really don't want to have to deal with that fence and the gate, then I can sit them this way. And we have this beautiful sort of open expanse behind them. I can shoot from this perspective from the side, I can shoot from this perspective. Like I can put myself in deep into the parking lot and I have this great open fence line here. I can shoot from the corner. There's just a lot of options. And especially if you have little ones that aren't quite stable on their own, they need to hold on to something, but you want to get a solo picture of them, a fence is great for that. Obviously making sure that they're not going to like get splinters or anything, but they can sort of stand up and hold on to this or the post, and you can get some cute shots of them while they're supported by themselves. The other thing that caught my eye as I was turning in here was across the street. So there's this beautiful vista across the street. There's not like a great little swatch there, and the sun is still a little bit too high, but once that sun comes down a little bit, or we put them in this little shade right here, I can get that big expanse behind them and just have a different perspective from the location that we're shooting on. Also, additionally, we have this little tree right here. And so if I were shooting in this location, say earlier in the day, when the sun is not going to be at its opportune location, I can come down here. Now with little kids, I don't know if I'd come down this close to the street. There's not a ton of traffic, but a little bit. But if you had older kids, you definitely could come down here and use the tree and the lower elevation to sort of block the parking lot, filter the light, shoot a little bit more wide open, blur everything in the back, and still be able to get, you know, some really beautiful shots, even with bright open fields and bright open sun. And this is what I'm talking about. So this tree right here, I could have them sit up there. So I'm by the road, but I could have them sit there and shoot them with the light coming through the tree, through the fence, right on the ground in a blanket there, and it would be absolutely beautiful. Same thing over here in the corner. I could have them stand here in the open shade and shoot that way. I could go over to that corner and shoot that way. And these are just ways to filter the light to best utilize the space that we have, even if it's not in the most opportune time of day and you're dealing with, like right now, there is literally not a cloud in the sky. There's no cloud cover here for us to hide behind. So if I need to be able to shoot in direct, harsh, open light, I gotta find a way to filter the light. This is a way to filter the light. That is a way to filter the light. And so I can come right across the street, position them here. You're gonna get all that beautiful sky behind them. And if you notice the light on my face, I'm in open shade right now. So I can adjust my exposure to be able to expose them properly while also retaining all of that beautiful sky in the background. And it just gives a whole different sort of perspective and feel to this location. And this is what that would look like. They would stand in the open shade right here, and I would be able to get this big expanse behind them. And mind you that the iPhone is a wide angle lens. So on my 35 or my 85 even, I'm not gonna see that. I'm not gonna see this. I'm not gonna see that. But I can get this beautiful vista behind them very, very easily. So it is now 6:20. As you can see, the sun is almost behind, and see how much further that shadow line has come. And so once that light dips down, all of this will pretty much be covered in shadow with some ambient light to work with, which will be great.